What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today we're going to talk about Captain America, the Winter Soldier. This is the second film in the Captain America franchise. I've seen this movie before. I've actually seen this movie. This was before my blindness, so I have had the opportunity to see this movie, and therefore I can have somewhat of a different kind of discussion about it. But I did rewatch this film. It has audio description on Disney Plus, and I rewatched it because Brave New World's out there. And if I'm going to put out my Brave New World review, I also want to put out these other reviews because a lot of what I have to say about Brave New World is really tied into these other films, since it didn't come out of nowhere. It's not one of those newer films where they're just like, Shang-Chi, where'd he come from? I don't know. So, yeah. This is the one that actually introduces Sam, played by Anthony Mackie. So click like and subscribe because we're going to talk about The Winter Soldier, the second Captain America film. Also, I'm a blind film critic, and I'd love for us to all run back towards the burning building that is DEI and put it out, because diversity, equity, and inclusivity are not bad words. I hate that I have to put this into a video now, but I do, because my soul is being crushed on a daily basis now. So, let's talk about audio description and accessibility for Captain America, the Winter Soldier. I actually thought it was pretty good, considering the action sequences, the fight sequences. It keeps up with everything pretty well. There are a couple little like reveals where you're like, oh no, did that just happen? Oh no, it did not just happen. there was a twist, there was a gag, but the audio description always presents it to you like, oh no, that thing just happened, and then you have to find out that it really didn't. So, like somebody being blown up, but it's like, oh no, they escaped. That kind of thing. That happens actually a couple times in Captain America Winter Soldier, where it looks like something may or may not happen, and then whoops, something else happens instead. Look at that. It's got a really great cast. This is my favorite Captain America movie. In case you're wondering, like, you're like, oh, I don't know, man. I don't know about this guy. Is he gonna shut out? No, I'm not gonna shut out this movie. I actually like the first three Captain America movies. The reason why I said this is my favorite Captain America movie is because Civil War feels so much like an unofficial Avengers movie. Like, I'm very much for this formula. This formula of Captain America addresses the fact that there's some shit going down and we need more than Captain America. And this was back in the day when we had less heroes, when we didn't have all the Disney Plus shows, when we didn't keep introducing all these oodles of new versions of characters, in addition to still having the old ones around. And we still made sure that people who were not previously in the Captain America franchise, like Black Widow and Nick Fury and Maria Hill, all just showed up for Captain America, the Winter Soldier. So it felt like people heard the call. And now that we are deeper into the MCU, this is a problem that Brave New World has. It's a problem that other films have had as well. Sometimes it's okay because you use the film to introduce a new character, like Wakanda Forever used it to introduce Riri as Ironheart. But also, there was some shit going down, and it would have been nice to see another face step in out of the multitude of characters, even for a few minutes, to be like, hey, we got the call. And another one of my reviews about the Captain America films, I mentioned Falcon, was one of those characters in the Ant-Man franchise, where he just kind of swings in out of nowhere for a few minutes. He ends up being one of those, like, surprises. So, I think that's something that's missing, and I don't know why it's missing. I don't know why Brave New World doesn't have somebody, but I could also say that about a series of films that keep occurring. A few of them get a pass because either they're in space, and then it's like, how many space characters do we have? Are we always, like, when you have Guardians of the Galaxy, the only suggestion there would be that like Captain Marvel would be like, "Hey, what's up? We're both space." uh, so Guardians is also a team already, and usually they end up introducing new characters or whatever. So it feels less pronounced there because it's not one person ever saving the galaxy. And then also something like Quantum Mania obviously is hard to do because somebody would need to shrink themselves down in order to have been in that movie. But there are plenty of sort of like real world crises. I felt this so hard in Eternals. I was like, really? All of this is happening? Where is everyone else? Where's anyone else? Like, I'd take Luke Cage at this point, you know what I'm saying? Just like somebody, like just an acknowledgement of, oh, hey, the world's ending. Huh, we're heroes. We should do something about that. I don't know. Why aren't we? I don't know, because Marvel won't let us. We're just, no, I don't know. And that's what it feels like. It feels more like Marvel won't let us than it does any sort of organic reason that you then have to like try to explain your way out of in like another movie. Where you're like, well, why? Oh, because I was in a coma. No, we did that already. I don't know. You know, it just feels like that all the time. So with Winter Soldier, when you have Natasha coming in, she's the main character here. She helps quite a bit to the storyline, but it never is not a Captain America storyline. It is always anchored in Captain America. It is always steeped in Captain America. It's steeped in connections to his past. When he sees Peggy, when there are photos of Peggy and the old gang back in the day. This film it brings back Bucky. So he's like, Bucky's alive from the past? Say what? You know, I mean, like he gets all those sort of things are brought in here, and then that becomes it feels like it couldn't be anything else but a Captain America movie. It doesn't feel like an Avengers movie simply because there are a couple other characters that are thrown in here. It feels still like a Captain America movie because when you think about the plot of the first film, this is about somebody waking up 70 years later and he's starting to learn the ways of the modern world. He's like heard that thing about the internet, started to read it, you know, like he's like somehow gonna finish it. I like that joke because it means that he like kind of knows what's going on, but he's not like 100% sure what's going on. And then also, you know, he sees his buddy who has had his brain wiped and has been through whatever kind of hell and back treatments, but by God, he's gonna get Bucky back, you know? He's gonna save the Winter Soldier. So, and then we have Sam Wilson, who is introduced in literally the first scene of the movie. In the literal opening scene of the movie is Sam Wilson running, and Captain America keeps passing him. And this is a scene that highlights a huge problem with Brave New World, is the fact that Sam decided not to take the super soldier serum. Well, part of that is that this is highlighted why you should take it, is there are things in this film that Cap does, that happens to Cap, where like he jumps out of a plane without a parachute and lands in the water and he's fine. Yes, that happens in this movie. He also runs, as Sam puts it, I believe he said 14 miles in 30 minutes. So, can Sam do that? No, he can't. Now, I don't think putting a vibranium suit on him is going to cause him to run 14 miles in 30 minutes. So our new Captain America is not quite ready for prime time because he chooses to go his own way. But then if you see Brave New World, you'll see that Marvel didn't choose for him to go his own way. They chose for him to repeat, you know, villains and plot lines from movies past. So he doesn't even really feel like he's taking a step forward or even following the path set forth by Falcon and the Winter Soldier. He feels like he's going and doing Incredible Hulk 2, which is also unfortunate for his character because Anthony Mackie is great in here. He's a great cast addition to Captain America. as a sidekick to Captain America, to the franchise. He's reliable. He provides sort of the audience with this, outsider insight because he doesn't really know what's going on. He doesn't have all the answers. He's sometimes they look at him and he's like, "Don't look at me. I'm with him." Like he just trusts Captain America. He doesn't need a lot of answers. He just knows that Captain America is a badass and he's following him. He knows that Captain America stands for truth and justice and whatever, and he's for that. So they're like-minded people. They're new friends. Cap trusts Sam pretty quickly, so that friendship is grows over 2.5 hours pretty fast, to where the end of the film feels natural when it's just like Cap and Sam left to go on to whatever the next plot will be, and it feels like that feels right. So now that Falcon is in the greater Marvel Cinematic Universe, after this point, he can be used however, whenever, and the world is better for it. Also in this film, we've got Robert Redford playing actually a really good villain. One of the better villains in film franchise history here. Because Redford leans into everything that makes him great as an actor, which is his just sort of affability, that likable quality that has worked for him so well. Even in films where he's not necessarily the good guy or the greatest guy, he still has that charm to him. He still has a smile. There's something about his eyes too, which are actually mentioned in his death sequence, where it reminds you that he had these sort of like really sort of spectacular eyes, and they're just kind of lifeless now. And you're like, oh god, all right, well, that happened. It's nice to see Maria Hill here. I think about things like the greater Marvel Cinematic Universe when I go back and watch these films, and I go, at this moment, did they know how they wanted Maria's character to finish? Nick Fury also, he's got some scenes with, like My Wife Kicked Me Out and that kind of stuff, which are references to things that I think at the time they didn't know where they were going or what they were going to be doing with his character. So there's some things now that when you put them into greater context, you're like, I don't know what works and what doesn't work anymore. But this is one of my favorite Marvel movies, so I would prefer for this movie to work over some of the other things that maybe contradict it or add an odd color to some of the statements. It's like this one came first and this one's the better thing, so I choose this. But yeah, it's great, and Sebastian Stan is perfect as Bucky. I mean, he's pretty much silent the whole film, but the couple times that he has to be frustrated with not being able to remember, and clearly having some sort of awareness of what that means for him, having his memory wiped, that he may in fact be this Bucky person that Cap keeps calling him, is really great. The larger plot about Hydra having infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. and them having to shut S.H.I.E.L.D. down is strong. It becomes this great espionage thriller, almost, this movie. So it's excellent. It has excellent audio description. It's very well directed. It has an excellent score. The acting here is great. I love everything about The Winter Soldier. The pacing is really good because even though it is long, it feels like it's full. That's the thing too. When you go for a long movie, you have to feel like everything that's in there is so important that it wouldn't be cut. It's also where we get an introduction to Emily Van Camp's character, Sharon Carter. She joins in, and as a potential love interest for Chris Evans, and also she's, related to Peggy Carter, which is kind of hilarious. It's very sort of rumor has it. uh, that weird, awful film where Kevin Costner sleeps like generationally, almost with three women in the same family. Um, but it's yeah, it's she's good. I'm glad. I was a big fan of Emily Van Camp before this, so when she got a bump up in her career by being able to be in Marvel and more awareness to who she was as an actress, I was excited for her. So that's here. Frank Grillo is pretty great. He's sort of like a side villain. So definitely, if you haven't checked out Captain America: The Winter Soldier, I would say you have to. Like, don't walk into Brave New World without having seen this. Don't walk into Brave New World without knowing where Falcon started, without knowing what Captain America movies could be and where they once were. So don't do that to yourself. This movie is better than Brave New World. Um, it's not that Sam can't be Captain America. I think he can be. I'm not going to make that argument at all. I'm not like DEI is killing the. I basically told you at the beginning of the thing we're running back towards DEI. It's just that if you see Brave New World, I don't know. It's one of those things where you're like, this movie plot is old and stale and could have definitely been better. So, and really doesn't even feel like it came out of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which is the last time we saw Sam. So there's nothing organic about it. And I really wish he had taken the super soldier serum or realized at some point, because this film really highlights, when you go back and watch it, that that there are reasons why he takes it. I mean, he plows through walls. There's a scene where he has to chase down Bucky in this, and he literally just runs through walls of a building. He can do that, you know? And I know they try to make up ground by giving him this vibranium suit in the other movie, but I guess because Iron Man is just a man in a suit. I guess that's the thing, right? So he's now like a hybrid of Iron Man and Captain America. I don't know. But whatever. Here's what it is now. So I'm giving Captain America: The Winter Soldier an A. I'd actually like to give it an A plus, because if I could take a few movies from the Marvel Cinematic Universe to a desert island, realizing I've seen this now a couple times, I'd like to take this one. The only reason I haven't seen this like an oodle amount of time is just because of runtime. Sometimes longer movies, you just it's so much easier to watch 90-minute movies multiple times because you can fit it in. You're like, I don't have time. I don't know. Oh, this movie's really short, and it makes me feel good. Oh, this movie's really long. It makes me. I don't know, man. I'm gonna choose a short movie, you know. But man, I had a blast rewatching this, and I've seen it already a couple times, and it just brought everything back. So definitely check this out. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And remember, diversity, equity, inclusivity are not bad words. I'll see you guys on the other side.